Well, welcome back to another episode of In Good Company, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. And I'm in great company today because a fellow St. John Fisher College grad, someone who I have looked up to and kind of looked at from afar since we graduated. He is actively growing and expanding in a massive company called HubSpot. We're going to get into so many details around working in kind of a bigger organization, but still being able to let your personality shine and continue to elevate. Man, without further ado, can't wait to welcome to the podcast, Kyle Denhoff. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. You're too kind. I appreciate the intro.
It's great to see you, man. So, dude, you and I both went to St. John Fisher. For those that don't know kind of the Rochester, New York landscape, what brought you to Fisher? Where did you grow up? Like, give us a little bit of your story.
Yeah, so I grew up in Rochester, so hometown kid. I think I ended up going to Fisher primarily for lacrosse. So I played high school lacrosse. I ended up getting injured junior, senior year, didn't get too many looks. And I was like, I just want to go to a good D3 program. And a couple of my buddies were at Fisher, and Fisher had gotten some success. They had beaten RIT. They were coming up and getting ranked nationally. I was like, I think I want to go there and play with these guys. And it was close to home, and they had a good CJ program, which I know we both were part of. And it was just an opportunity to play lacrosse, but then it ended up, being a great experience for me. So loved it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then, for your story, and I feel like maybe a younger person who's just at the cusp of getting ready to graduate college and kind of go into career, was HubSpot your first career jump? Was that the first thing fresh out of college? Did you?
It wasn't. So I ended up getting a gig at an agency. So I ended up going agency first, small agency, 30 people, but got to learn the SEO, the content, the email side for small business. And I loved agency side because you get so many at-bats. You work with different clients, you work on different problems, you get to actually execute the work. And then from the agency, I went to 2 national brands. So I worked on Xerox and did Xerox Social for a couple of years, and then a national healthcare company called Fresenius Medical Care. Okay. The only way you would know Fresenius is if you or a loved one had kidney disease. They're one of the largest providers of dialysis in the country. But I got to work on their direct-to-patient brand and their go-to-market, which was super exciting. And I was hanging out in the Boston ecosystem, went to an Inbound, which is HubSpot's big event, and met some good people, and ended up getting a gig. I do have a funny story about HubSpot.
All right, I'm ready.
Funny story. So I'm at the agency, right? And I'm fresh out of college. I got 2 years in at the agency. I'm thinking I'm pretty good.
I'm awesome.
Marketer, right?
Yeah.
You're young. You're I'm killing it right now.
Yeah.
And HubSpot, the HubSpot blog was the blog at the time. I'm reading the blog every week, trying to figure out new ideas for my clients. And I applied to the job board. They had a social media marketer job. I apply to it, get the email back. We'd love to talk to you. I'm like, no way, right? 2 years experience, Buffalo, New York agency. Why do they want to talk to me? So I do the recruiter phone interview. I'm like, this went really well. She goes, I'd love for you to meet the manager. Next day, they set me up with the manager. I meet with the manager, and I kind of freeze, right? I'm just nervous. I'm nervous. And
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, she's so nice. And then I'm like, you know what? I think I have the experience, but we'll see what she said. Within an hour, I get an email. Thank you for your time. We're going another direction, right? And the competitor and me, I was kind of pissed. I was like, it went really well.
I'm legit, bro.
I know my stuff. And so it took me 7 years to get back there, but I did say to myself early on, I was like, see I'll work there and see what it's like inside. Yeah.
And so was the Boston jump right after Fisher then? You did the Buffalo agency.
And I stayed in upstate for a couple of years, right? Yep. And Boston was interesting. So my now wife, we'd met in college, and so we were in Rochester, and we both were we want to experience a big city. We'd traveled a little bit in the Northeast. We hadn't done a ton of travel, but New York, Boston, Philly. New York was too much. We were both all right, overwhelming. And we had good friends in Boston. We were like, this place is great. And we just said, hey, if one of us gets a job in Boston, let's do it. So she ends up getting a call back from this company, Hearts on Fire, which was this luxury diamond company for a finance gig. She heads to Boston, drives down, sleeps on our friend's couch, does the interview, ends up getting the job.
Wow.
And at that point, I was working for Xerox running brand social for North America. She had a finance gig here. And she's like, well, I'm going, and in my head, I'm like, well, I got to go, but I don't know if like Xerox is going to let me go, right? Remote wasn't really a thing yet. And I talked to my boss, and she says, you know what? We want you in HQ. We want you with the comms and the PR team. And I understood too, because I was, again, early in my career. I was like, they don't want you isolated, and they don't know if you can deliver. I think I can say this now. I went anyway. So we went to Boston. I worked out of the Boston Public Library and some WeWorks for like a year and a half.
Wow.
Which I don't know if it was the right thing to do, but it got me to Boston, and then I ended up getting a job, and we stayed there 7 years.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So for someone listening that is in this like critical, maybe transitional period of their career,
sure,
like maybe they're in like that agency window that you were in, right? Where they kind of have this dream or they have this goal. What piece of advice would you have for someone that's kind of in that season? Maybe they have a spouse, maybe they got a little kiddo.
Sure.
Give like a nice little piece of advice for someone that's kind of in this place of indecision, but they know what the goal is. They know what they want to do.
Yeah. I think you got to bet on yourself. I think you just have to do it, right? Like I just decided to go. When I talk to folks, like I'll talk to some students at Fisher even, and at the end of the day, like one thing is I think you do want to get to a big market early in your career. Like I think you want to get to New York or Boston or Philly or just to experience it. There's more job opportunities in big markets, right? It's just the size of them. I think you want to go somewhere where you can get your hands on the work. I think when folks go to big corporations, sometimes they're doing one task on a team and they don't get to necessarily be a critical thinker or involved in a lot of things. So one of the best things that ever happened to me was going to a 30-person agency and them throwing clients at me and saying, figure it out, right? So for me, those are the two things I tell kids coming out of school is like, go to a big market and go work for like a startup or a small agency or a boutique or something, because they'll throw you in it, right? They may ask you to manage a budget. They may ask you to write headlines for a website, but you get to do the work. And I think that sets you up long term, right? It's like you actually know how the work gets done.
Yeah. And I think it's something that maybe is an obvious statement, but there's risk involved.
Oh, yeah.
And anything worth pursuing has risk.
Definitely.
And I think for you to even share the story of, dude, I'm working out of WeWorks. I'm like basically hoping this company doesn't find out that I've moved or whatever. It's like you're trying to build, like to pursue the dream while also, not playing it safe, but to keep what you've already built safe, right? Like you're trying to do both things.
Definitely. I think culturally too, it's like we go through school and we assume when you leave school that everything's just as structured. It's like, I'll go to a company and I'll get a job. And if I work hard, I'll get a promotion. And if I work hard, I'll get another promotion. It's not linear. Like once you get out there, you make your own luck. Like you got to work hard, keep your eyes open, ask good questions, listen, find opportunities. And like, that's the other thing is like, if there's an opportunity, go, just go. I had a buddy, similar kind of story. He was staying local after school. He had a sports injury. He was working in some sales job where he's doing cold calls and he wasn't happy, and he got an opportunity for a job in San Francisco. He's like, I don't know if I want to leave, man. Like my family's here. I'm like, go. It doesn't matter. Nothing else. Just go. You're young. If you come back, it'll be great. And he ends up going, turns into a great gig. And now I think he's a sales manager, sales director for this company. But it's just
amazing.
I think you got to jump at the opportunities when they present themselves. Yeah.
And I think too, like, I'm going to sound like the old hag here when I say it this way, but it's like, before you have kiddos, before you have like kind of and you can still take risks with them, but it's like in that window of time, like your 20s to 30s, where your responsibilities will never be as light when it comes to, those that you're responsible for, or, those that are kind of counting on you. And I think, absolutely, man, take those risks. And one of the risks that you took, I know you kind of flippantly threw in that you played lacrosse at Fisher. You played professional lacrosse, my friend.
Yeah.
So that's a risk. That's, you're still working a job, pursuing a dream. What the heck? Talk about this.
All right. Yeah. So I I played 7 years of pro ball. Played 5 years for Rochester, 2 years for Boston. Coming out of school, like playing Division III, I didn't get drafted. I didn't get many looks, and I was lucky that lacrosse is such a small community. And the head coach for Rochester is Tim Sudan. He's local legend, Team USA guy, Nighthawks, and the whole thing. And I'm at that agency in Buffalo, and he texts me a number I don't know.
Whoa.
Hey Kyle, it's Coach Sudan from the Rattlers. I'd like to talk to you. And I'm like on a client call, right? Like checking my phone.
How many years removed are you from lacrosse?
It was like one. I just graduated. A year out. So I was still like working out and playing with like friends, but I wasn't competing. And so I was like, yeah, can I call you back at lunch? Right? Like I'm at work. And I called him back, and he's like, we want you to come to camp. And so I got an invite to camp, go there, and like, you got to realize you go to camp with a professional team, you're playing with like D1 All-Americans, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Duke, Virginia, the guys I was like watching on TV. And
you're like, are you sure about this?
Yeah, I'm like, thanks for the invite, right? And I ended up having a good camp. Like whatever reason, things went my way. I had a good camp, and no joke, he like breaks the huddle on the last day, and I'm walking over to like pack up my bag, and the assistant coach comes over, puts his arm around me. He goes, "This is not a joke. We are dressing you week 1." And I was like, excuse me? He's like, you've made the team. We are dressing you week 1. You need to be ready to play the Bayhawks in 2 weeks. And they ended up dressing me week 1. I had 2 goals in that game and turned it into a career. But it was fun. I mean, I was working marketing Monday through Friday, and then playing professional lacrosse Friday through Sunday. Flying home and, putting on the chinos and the button up and going back to work.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. You're just like sweating at your desk, just like, oh my gosh.
I used to go into work on Mondays with injuries.
I bet.
Like lacrosse, you can get hit on the arms, hit on the back, right? So you'd like wear a polo in the summer, and I'd have like a huge welt on my forearm going into work.
It's like, what happened, pal?
Yeah, I was like, don't worry about it. It's they all knew, but it's kind of weird to talk about at work, right? Because it's like, how was your weekend? And you're like, well, I flew to Denver. I played I played a game at Mile High Stadium, and now like I'm back here. I got work to do.
Now I just love the agency.
Now I love SEO. I love the keyword research. But it was fun. Like, what a great
It's incredible, man. So let's just sit in that for a second, and we don't have to harp on this too long, but obviously that's an experience that not everybody has. Like, what an honor. And again, I think you're being very humble with the way that journeyed out for you, but I think clearly you had a skill and a talent in an area that I think, even for those listening, obviously the cross is one thing, but I think we live in a culture right now where people love hearing stories about a guy that actually gets to pursue his dream, but they've lost belief in their own.
Yeah.
And I think that you hear a story like, I got the call and I got 2 goals my first game, and you're like, cool, man, good for Kyle, But for someone that's listening, like, one of the segments that we do on the podcast is called Fails of the Week.
Okay.
It's very easy to see your LinkedIn and see all the followers and the fun and the buzz, the big job that you've got. I lived in Boston. I played professional lacrosse. Cool. But give me some fails. Give me like, what are some of those stories that maybe weren't funny at the time, but you're like, bro, I have to share some of these fails.
Well, I feel like, right, you go on the pod or on social, those are the headlines. Those are the good headlines. They're curated. Yeah. You don't see the other stuff. Gosh, fails.
It doesn't have to be this week. Obviously, it can be.
One of my favorite ones is actually a HubSpot. So I finally get that gig at HubSpot, and I come in, and I'm nervous to be there. I'm excited. My background was more digital, but like more from a brand standpoint. And I come into HubSpot, and they're like, hey, we want you to do this like lead gen campaign. And by the way, we've secured some partners for it. Google, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'm like, oh.
Are you familiar?
Have you ever heard of them? And they're like, we're going to put you on this, and we need you to do a campaign that generates, I think the number was like 3,000 leads in 90 days. I'm like, okay, cool. So I think I know what I'm doing, right? I'm new to the company. I come in. I get a production team. We decide we're going to fly out to California. They never give us travel budgets. We're like, we got secured budget. We're going to go to their headquarters. We're going to shoot interviews with them at their office. We create this landing page, and objectively it was beautiful. Like motion graphics. In Harry Potter, ghosts that are in the portraits on the wall.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of like that on the page. Like we took clips from the interview and had the motion on the page. Beautiful.
Let's go.
Set it up. I'm so proud of it. I get in front of the marketing team to present the work. I have signage, the whole thing. 90 days goes by. Absolute flop. Leads are brought in was like 300 maybe, and they wanted 3,000. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what went wrong? You know, I was like new to the team. It was beautiful. I'm like, this is great. But at the end of the day, I had to like report to the marketing director. I was like, yeah, huge flop. I spent a lot of money and got you no leads. Right. And it ended up like, I think it was 2 months later, they had like a marketing all hands. And the CMO goes, would you mind presenting your failure?
Whoa.
To the department. And I was like, really? Like, really? You know? But it taught me this thing, about, like a couple things. One was I didn't know lead gen the way they knew lead gen. I knew how to make things that looked great, but didn't necessarily perform. And I had a lot to learn, right? And so I had to spend the next couple of years learning performance and conversion rates and like how do you actually create something that gets somebody to click and convert and actually talk to your sales team.
Yeah.
And it also taught me just as like a leader in a department, like talk about your failures. Like I was nervous to present, but he wanted people to hear that I had failed because he wanted everyone in the department to experiment and fail because that's the only way you learn it.
No doubt.
Right. So I fail all the time. My team comes to me all the time and they're like, yeah, we did this thing. It didn't work. And we're just like, you know what? All right, we'll report up on it. We'll fix it. We'll pivot. We'll move on.
It's awesome. Let me ask it this way, because for someone that maybe has experienced failure, there's a lot of tension where sometimes people can wear that and it becomes an identity thing of, I am a failure.
Sure.
And that's a very separate thing.
Yeah.
How did you get back on the horse, so to speak? Like after that kind of like demoralizing, you felt so good about it. You're like, yo, look at like the Harry Potter, whatever, like we got this. How do you then get back on the horse, prepare for the next presentation, prepare for the next marketing plan, and actually feel confident that it's going to work? Like how did you make that pivot?
It's, I think it's all mindset. It's tough to teach, you know? Like especially like earlier in my career and stuff, you have confidence when you're young and then you fail a lot and then you lack the confidence to like bounce back. But I think it's like just reframing your mindset, which is like, it's not failure. I just learned something. And I know that's kind of the typical response, but it really is true.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I did a thing, it didn't work, but why didn't it work? And that's you learning. That's just the process of learning. Yeah. Right. And so like, I think it's like you could have a couple failures in a row, but at the end of the day, you have to have the mindset and make the decision. I'm going to get up and try it again. And I'm not going to do what I did last time because it didn't work. Right. Because I learned and I'm going to do it better next time. Yeah. And it may not work, but it may be a little better than it was before. And I think that's just a mindset for people who have, you have drive. And you just got to get out of bed, make the decision to do it. Yeah, it's great, man. I'm just a big believer, just because you are, overseeing something doesn't mean you have to do everything, right? No. Just because I'm responsible for something doesn't mean I have to do every task required. And I think as you start to trust on the team and you start to kind of lean into the resources that you have, I think that sometimes when we're younger, it's like, if it's going to be, it's up to me, and everything becomes, I'm pulling the all-nighter and I'm getting this presentation tight and everything's going to be good. Yeah. And then it flops or something happens. Yeah. And I think that's when it feels, I couldn't have worked any harder. I couldn't have done any more. Yeah. Well, you could get the team involved. You could give other people opportunities. And yeah, that's really smart. The other thing to add to that too, I think like there's factors you can't control. Right. A lot of time you take it personal, but there's something that happened that you didn't know about, right? Gosh, like right now, just like a business example, like the HubSpot blog is hurting a little bit because search is going through a huge disruption. Yeah. It's not our blog writer's fault. It's like there is a macro shift happening right now. This is not a reflection of your work. You're still doing great work. Yeah. And I think that's like, just to your point, it's like get teams around you and understand sometimes it doesn't fall on you. Like just I think you got to reflect sometimes and realize like, okay, why didn't that work? And sometimes it's not on you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even not to stay in the sports thing or whatever, but it's like, you know, you could have had a really tough game. You guys lost, or you're on like a 3-game skid, and you're still showing up to work Monday and going like, all right, here we go. Like diving in. And I think if you don't have that mindset, if you don't have that almost compartmentalizing those type of things and kind of keep them in their own space, as leaders, we can bleed on people. As leaders, we can, you know, limit the growth and the potential of those underneath us because we're just constantly bleeding on them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We, last thing on this, like within HubSpot's culture code, which is published online, pretty popular document, they talk about having a solutions mindset. And sometimes when you publish these mission vision documents, right, they're a little fluffy. I'm telling you, when I came into this company, like executives said it, directors said it, team members said it, solutions, we failed, or people are frustrated, there's friction, I'm not doing well, whatever. And you just have to say, hey, we need to have a solutions mindset as a team. Let's figure this out. And it immediately flips everything to a positive, right? Yep. Immediately, nothing else matters. The past doesn't matter. Let's just think forward and come up with solutions. And that's been something that's been helpful for me in my career, is like I came into the company not with that.
It's amazing.
You know, that mantra. And it is amazing how much it flips a team's thinking.
It's great. Yeah, and rather than being kind of excuse driven, or I've heard people give this example, and I'm going to ask you a direct question, but when you go to your, you know, direct report, let's say, if you keep bringing that person more problems, you're a terrible employee, right? Like that's not helpful.
No.
But you can come to the table and say, here's a problem, and here's a multiple choice of 3 solutions.
That's right.
That me and the team have come together with. I just need you to pick a solution.
Yep.
That's like, cool. You're coming to me with a solution now.
Yep.
And that whole mindset shift, could not agree more with, man. So my question to you, for someone that manages people, but also in that 360-degree leadership that you have people managing you, what piece of advice would you have of how can you be not a good leader? I feel like that question we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
How can you be a good follower or a good person who is supporting the vision of someone above you? Or maybe you don't always agree and see eye to eye on things, but you say, got it, received, I'm going to implement this. What advice would you have for that role?
Yeah, it's tough because I mean, you want to foster debate and like have kind of natural friction on the team, because great ideas come from debate, right? It's never like one person's opinion. And at the leadership level, we have a lot of debates. There's a lot of friction, but in a good way. It's like we're all trying to solve the same thing. We're just trying to solve it differently. Once a decision's made, you got to get on board with that, right? I think that like at the end of the day, like that is, successful teams have a target and a goal, and they're all rowing in the same direction. And so I think as you're moving up in your career, you have to debate with your leaders, debate with them, bring them facts, bring them ideas. But when a decision's made, you got to get on board with the team. And then now it's your job to get the team to rally behind that.
It's great.
And you don't want to give them some fake vision, right? Give them the context. We had a debate. This was the problem we were trying to solve. These were the sides of the argument. We ultimately went with this decision.
Yeah.
If you give them the context, they start to understand why that decision was made, and it's easier for them to get on board. And then once they're on board, they're like, okay, I know how to help us hit that goal as a team. And that's what I like, is like small groups. And I preach writing briefs, like really tight 1-page briefs. It's like, what's the problem we're solving? What are all the inputs that we need to solve this problem? And then get people to come to you and say, if I do it this way, I think I can help you hit the goal. Great. Let's do that.
Great.
So I think that's what you have to do, is like, there's always going to be healthy conversations, but once a decision's made, like it may not work, right? I think you have to also realize that when you're like growing your career, there's going to be decisions made that fail, and that's okay. And you, like, as a team, you still got to get on board together and go in the same direction.
Right. That's great advice, man. Super, super good advice. I know we skimmed over the Boston thing, but I just want to land back for a second.
Yeah.
For those that maybe haven't been or haven't lived in Boston, obviously there's always like, you can go on all the, Instagram accounts and find the top places to eat
Sure.
and things to do, but like someone that actually lived it, walked the streets. Like, give us your must do elements, whether it's a restaurant that they gotta hit,
Okay.
some sort of maybe hole in the wall place that you feel like is just worth a quick little shout out.
Oh, good call. Yeah, I think you scroll Instagram, you go on TripAdvisor, you'll find the spots like the Harbor, Faneuil Hall, and stuff. For me, it's actually a much smaller city than people think.
Yeah.
I think it's like 8 times smaller than New York City, something like that. So it's a walkable city.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. I'll say my favorite thing to do, and then if you're a visitor, what I think you should.
Excellent.
My favorite thing to do is I go there probably every quarter, and I love walking or running the Charles River. Like the Charles River splits the city of Boston and Cambridge, and it's a city of runners and walkers. There's a lot of active people. New Balance is out of there, right? And it's just one of the best things to do is walk along the Charles on the Cambridge side and see the sunrise over the city or whatever. It really is very relaxing, kind of sets you in your place for the day. That's my favorite thing to do.
I love it.
If you're visiting, if you're coming from out of town, probably my favorite day or evening would be you go to the North End. So the North End is the Italian village north of the city. Really narrow streets, row homes, the whole thing, Italian restaurants. And you would go to probably a place like Brico, Carmelina's maybe. You sit down, you have pasta, you have a glass of red wine,
And
you're done with that, and then you walk down the street and there's 2 pastry shops. So there's Mike's Pastries, which is the famous one. Across the street's Modern, and Modern has a little more dessert options. You grab one of those and then you finish your walk in the North End Park, which is, if you know the story of Boston, they took down the Big Dig. They took down the highway that went through the city. It now goes underground into a tunnel. Where that highway used to be, they built a beautiful park that oversees the city. So you have your dinner, you walk down the street, you grab your dessert, you finish your dessert in the park, and you're literally sitting there looking at the city of Boston, enjoying your cannoli or whatever. That's what I would do.
You heard it here first, ladies. If you are in soon to be engaged territory, we've just painted a really nice evening.
So you could tell the story, because that's how I proposed.
Is it?
That's
Let's
how I
go!
that's how I got the story.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's it, man.
That's it.
You can shoot Kyle a Venmo if you do move forward with that.
That's right.
For
That's right.
the free advice. Dude, that's unbelievable, man. I've been to Boston a few times.
Yeah.
One of my best friends on the planet, Joe, qualified for the Boston Marathon.
Incredible.
6.5 minute pace, bro, for 26 miles.
Oh my goodness.
And literally, I am on mile 25. We just bought margarita cans from one of the whatever.
Sure.
And I'm trying to chase him.
Yeah.
On the last mile, and I cannot physically keep up with him on his last mile. Pouring rain. It was a really, really crazy thing. But he inspired me so much, man. For those that haven't been to the Boston Marathon or any marathon, I ended up falling in love with running. Yeah. I ended up running LA Marathon.
Did you?
My
really?
time very different than his time.
Yeah,
but
still,
it was just
right?
it was incredible, right?
Yeah,
And I went out with Zach and Em, and obviously out there, and my cousin Emily ran it while pregnant, and beat my time. So anyway, we won't get into the times, but all that to say, your point that you brought up earlier about finding opportunities to get around some of those bigger cities, whether you live there, visit there, train for a marathon and attend there, whatever that is, the network, the buzz, the environment, the opportunities of just having conversation, grabbing a coffee, bumping into somebody, you just never know what type of opportunities and growth can come from that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then you fast forward to where we are today. Mm-hmm. You and I reconnect at St. John Fisher, where we're just speaking, where we have an opportunity to I sat on a panel, and you were, leading some marketing conversations. I think it was the Entrepreneurship Club or something like
clubs,
that. Yeah. Why is it so important to you to kind of give back in that way? Why do you feel the need to not just kind of stay put and do your job and go back to your family, but why do you kind of have that heart? You just did a lacrosse, fundraiser golf tournament. Mm-hmm. There's a heart in you to kind of give back to that next generation of people that are coming up.
Sure.
Where does that come from for you?
That's a good question. I got to say my parents. So I come from a household of educators. My dad was a special education teacher. My mom was a clinical social worker, worked in the school districts. I just like for me, there were always conversations around helping people, you know, and also coming from the athletics world, it's just kind of like built into the culture. It's like help the young players that join the team, and like if you're in high school, you're going to help the youth program, and like that's what you do during the summer. And I just like I love teaching, I love coaching. Like I love just like sharing what I learned so it helps somebody because they just don't know yet. It's not that they're not capable or whatever. Yeah. It's just they don't know yet. And you've gone through that experience, and it's very easy for you to give an hour of your time to teach them something that's going to help them significantly, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Significantly. And you're talking about an hour of time. So I'm actually going back to Fisher next week. Are you going back?
Love it.
On Friday?
I have something, I think on the 22nd. I don't think I'm going on Friday.
But it's, just the fact they give us those opportunities, it's
amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, like, we've even talked about the studio being about 15 minutes away. I met with like their board of the communications program, and he's like, we got a bus on campus now. Like, I want to take kids here.
Cool.
Shoot some stuff.
Yeah.
They can go back to their Sedano class for video production.
Yeah.
They break it down. How was their elevator pitch? And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Like, this is it.
So that's the one thing about Fisher. Like, when you and I went through school, so there's so many, I was having this conversation. I have a 1-year-old. Yeah. We just had our, first birthday party 2 weeks ago. I'm sitting down with one of my good friends from Fisher, and we were just catching up, and she says to me, we're talking about careers or whatever, and she was like, isn't it kind of weird that like you're doing what you studied to do in college? Because a lot of people, like, you study something, unless you're a lawyer or a doctor, it's like you could go into many different career paths, right? But at Fisher, they gave us like hard skills, like research and writing. And we were in WordPress and Twitter very early on.
Yep.
Shooting video, doing Final Cut Pro, building websites in Dreamweaver, building HTML emails in Dreamweaver. At this point, I'm at Fisher, or I'm at HubSpot working on our YouTube channels. I'm working on our podcast, our blog, or what. It's all still the same foundational skill set. Can you do research? What's the editorial angle? How do you write a hook? I think that's so lucky for people that are in communications and marketing is like, once you learn those skills, they're so applicable.
Yes.
And you can figure out how businesses value them and turn that into a career.
And also, Fisher being such a small school, like a private school, the amount of like face-to-face time with a professor in their office going like, talking about things totally outside of the work or the homework or the things it's due.
Yeah.
Like with Professor Sedano, I mean, Dr. Sedano was like, what you said at the beginning of this podcast, he's like, dude, you got to go to New York City, man.
Yeah.
As soon as you graduate, man, you got to get there. And he did, and he worked for Madison Square Garden. He was like under the Knicks doing edits.
He's like
and
in
stuff.
The Sopranos. He was working on The Sopranos
at one
point or something,
whatever.
right?
Yeah. But yeah, I think he was in The Sopranos. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's beautiful, man. And I think one of the things I would encourage anybody that's listening is, bloom where you're planted. And I think if you're planted in a small school, take advantage of that small school and let your roots go deeper and really pursue that thing. I think if you're at a bigger school and they have a great program, you can still bloom there too and find the benefits of something like that. If you're at a big city, man, bloom. If you're in a small town like a Rochester, bloom. Like, figure out how you can continue to give value, give back, and just continue to grow. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
I think it's great. Last part of our pod, man, absolute favorite part is our rapid fire hot seat questions. So this is like, you got, 1 sentence replies, sometimes 1 word replies. We'll get this thing cooking. So what is your best memory or maybe best game or whatever from playing professional lacrosse?
Best memory on the field is scoring that first goal for sure. That
Incredible.
One's without a doubt. But best memory ever, our coach, he still wanted this like college culture. And so he hosted a barbecue at his house when we had home games. And we were playing, you got a professional team in the guy's backyard playing cornhole and like eating burgers or whatever. By far my best memory. You're just spending time with your friends.
Incredible. That's awesome, man. What is a book or a podcast that you feel like has changed your life or changed the way that you lead? Anything that has really stood out to you over the years?
I'm a big nonfiction, like business, sports history. I love Brene Brown's Dare to Lead.
Amazing.
My number one probably would be $1 Trillion Coach, which is Bill Campbell's story. Do you know that one?
No.
So I'll keep it short. I know this is rapid fire, but Bill Campbell was a coach, football coach. He ends up coaching at Columbia, Ivy League. I guess he was a fantastic coach. They didn't have a great record. Go figure. Ivy League's not a juggernaut in D1 football, right?
Yeah.
Leaves coaching to go work in business. I think he worked at Intel for a little bit. And he ends up working his way into that Silicon Valley scene. And the entire book is about his journey as a consultant for Steve Jobs' early days Apple, and then Sergey and Larry at Google. And he actually became kind of the CEO consultant for hire for those early businesses because they wanted to bring things from team sports to the tech companies. And so it was all about lessons around team dynamics and leadership and clarity and hard work and like all those things you get from athletics. So that one just spoke to both my worlds. So I love that one.
Whoa. That's fantastic. That wasn't a rapid fire response, but I accept. I accept. What's the first concert you've ever gone to? Or what is maybe your favorite concert?
First and favorite, I went to Kenny Chesney in Canandaigua.
Okay.
And, I'm a big country fan.
Yeah, dude.
I loved Kenny. The summertime concert with Kenny is the best.
Incredible. Yeah. I actually just went to CMAC. Who do we see? Sublime.
Did you?
Over the summer.
Nice.
And ironically, someone that was renting on our podcast space goes, same day, he goes, we got 4 tickets to Sublime. Does anyone on the Thomas Media Group team want them? I go, I'm already going.
Yeah.
Everyone's just trying to not go to Sublime. Anyway, dream vacation spot. Are you like go to the mountains, like whatever? Are you more like vibey by the beach? Like what's kind of your...
Definitely more city and mountains.
Nice.
Definitely more city and mountains. Yeah, my wife and I love like the Adirondacks. We go up to Lake Placid all the time. And then we've tried to hit all the big cities in the U.S. and going over to Europe a couple times. So
cool.
I just like the cultures, right?
For
like
sure.
The architecture and the arts and trying the food and everything.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Last question. What is one word that describes how you lead your team or that you would want to be remembered for how you lead your team?
Coach.
Cool.
Coach. Yeah, someone who's like cares about their team and will get into the details with them, but then train them up, to be able to go be successful themselves.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, thank you. I appreciate having you on, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of In Good Company, where we really do believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. Take care.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. For more information or to connect with Mike, visit him online at thomasmediagroup.co or on Instagram at Michael L. Thomas. Thanks again for listening, and remember, the best of business happens in good company. We'll see you next time.